Brother Mufiz, do you recognize Hakim? Yeah, he was here. Just ask him, can we start now? He's not in this room right now. Hakim? Good? Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge in Allah from Satan, the accursed and the rejected. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the constantly merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise and thanks belong to Allah, the Lord, the cherisher, the sustainer, the nourisher of the universe. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulullah. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulullah. Blessings and salutations be upon the Messenger of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As you probably know, the topic for today's class is actions are but by intentions. Actions are but by intentions. What does that mean? It means that the reward for actions are based on the intentions with which they are performed. This is a part of a longer hadith, much longer hadith, which was narrated on the authority of Caliph Omar, the leader of the believers. May Allah be pleased with him. He said, Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, I heard the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, listen to the whole hadith carefully, okay? We are going to talk about that hadith. Actions are but by intentions, and everyone will get what they intended. Thus, he whose migration was for Allah and his messenger, his migration was for Allah and his messenger. And he whose migration was to achieve some worldly gains or worldly benefit, or to take some woman in marriage, his migration was for that for which he migrated. This is in both Bukhari and Muslim. Very important hadith. I will tell you why this hadith is important. But before that, let me say, some scholars say that this hadith was stated concerning a man who wanted to marry a woman by the name of Qais. What is Qais? Means mother. So the mother of Qais. But Qais refused to marry him unless he would migrate from Makkah to Medina. Okay, that was her condition for accepting the marriage proposal. Therefore, he migrated to Medina in order to marry her. It is said that from that day, he was called the migrant of Qais, the one who migrated for Qais. According to the great scholar Ibn Hajar, this hadith does apply to that particular person, but probably he was not the cause behind the hadith. It's a long discussion. I don't want to get into it, just to let you know that this probably was not the cause, the reason for the hadith, but it applied to that person. Okay? So let us see why this hadith is so important. First of all, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam began the hadith by using the word innama. And innama means there is no other way. It is exclusivity. It is like there is no other way, the thing that I'm telling you. So that means it's a double emphasis. It's not only a statement, it's a statement which is very, very strong. Second, this hadith was recorded by many well-known hadith scholars. Name a few: Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasai, Ibn Majah, etc., etc., a whole long list of hadith scholars who have recorded this. In fact, there are over 90 works of hadith that have been recorded, 90 works of books of hadith that have recorded this hadith. Can I have some water, please? Forgot to drink water. Third, Imam Bukhari began his Sahih, his book of hadith, the famous book of hadith, with this hadith, the first hadith in Imam Bukhari. But he did it as an opening sermon. Like when you start a book, there is a foreword to it, there's a starting chapter to it, which doesn't have all the hadiths, but it gives an introduction to the ahadith. And he indicated that every action that is done not desiring the face of Allah or the pleasure of Allah is invalid. Any action that you do without having the intention to please Allah is invalid. Such actions will bear no fruit in this world as well as in the hereafter. Number 4, Imam Nawawi considered this hadith as one of the pivots, as one of the focal points of Islam. What does it mean? It means that the whole religion of Islam revolves around this one hadith. Number 5, Imam Nawawi also puts this as the first hadith in his book because he says sincerity of intention is the key to the acceptance of actions. Without this key, the doors of acceptance will not open. So you have to have sincerity of intention in order for your actions to be accepted. Number 6, according to some scholars, this hadith is half of our deen, half of Islam. The first half is the intention in the heart, which is internal. And the second half is the action which we do by the limbs, which is external. Got it? Half of deen is intention. Half of deen is action. Number 7, according to Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad Hanbal, this hadith is 1/3 of the knowledge of Islam. Why? We just talked about 2 things, right? What were these? Intention, insight, internal, and the action, which is external. Now a third thing is added. According to Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad, 1/3 is the intention, is the niyyah in the heart, is the intention. 1/3 are the statements that of the tongue, and 1/3 are the actions by the limbs. So you see, anything, sometimes we might think that it is only the action and not the saying which is being counted. But for every saying, for every action, you have an intention. So the intention behind the saying and the intention behind the action is what really counts. Number 8, according to Imam Shafi, this hadith is related to about 70 topics of fiqh, the understanding of deen. Number 9, and the last one is, there are hundreds of points, but I've just selected 9. Some scholars go further on to say that the intention of a believer is better than his action. However, he said the action has to be a permissible one, a halal one, a allowed one, and not a forbidden one. You can't say that you have an action, that you have an intention which is good, but then you go on doing haram things. I'll put some more light on that. If we look at the teaching style of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we notice that he stated the hadith, he started it with a principle. He gave the principle. First of all, actions are judged by intentions. And this is why we have this topic for today. This principle means that in order for any action to be accepted and thus rewarded by Allah, it must be done purely for His sake. We did this already. The most exact meaning of this would be purity of intention, sincerity of intention, purity of intention. After giving this, the principle, the Prophet ﷺ gave 2 examples. Anyone remembers what the examples were? Number 1, and why did he give examples? Because examples make it easy for us to understand. And we can apply the principle to similar conditions in our lives. So let us see what was the situation first. At one of the stages in the life of the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered all Muslims to migrate from Mecca to Medina. Thus, migration became a religious obligation. Every Muslim was commanded to migrate, period. The first example given by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was of a person who migrated to Medina purely for the sake of Allah, seeking His pleasure by fulfilling His command. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this deed, this type of deed, is done by a type of person, and it would be who was sincere. So it would be accepted by Allah, and he shall get the full reward. He shall get the full reward for migrating, for listening to Allah's command, for migrating from one city to the other. The Prophet ﷺ gave the second example of a person who also migrated from Makkah to Medina, and it appeared that he also fulfilled the religious obligation, right? But the truth was that his intention was not to please Allah, rather, and not even to fulfill his command, rather his intention was to get the proposal accepted by the woman who said, I will marry only if you move from Makkah to Medina. So this type of a person, although he may have achieved what he wanted in his life, like he got this lady as his wife, yet his deed was not acceptable to Allah, therefore he shall not be rewarded for it. Got the point? Very easy explanation. Thus, deeds which appear identical may in reality be quite different if the intentions behind are different. The intention behind the need, who knows? Only yourself and Allah. Nobody else knows. Now, I'm sitting here giving this talk to you. Only Allah knows what my intention is. Somebody else may be coming and giving a talk, and Allah knows what their intention is. You cannot guess that, oh, she's doing such a good job, because my intention could be something else, maybe to please you, maybe to show off. Got it? So the intention is very important. Therefore, according to the intention, an action is made either good or corrupt. It can be acceptable or rejected by Allah. It may be rewardable, it may not be rewardable, or it may even be punishable. Why? What does intention actually mean? Intention can be described in English as endeavor, as purpose, as a resolve or a resolution, as a goal, as an aim, as a determination, and so on and so forth. It is not just a thought that comes to the mind. Okay, I want to do that. I feel like doing that. I may do that. That is not an intention. Rather, it is a firm determination and an aspiration to do something. You really want to do that. An intention should lead to results. If a change in intention occurs, a change in action takes place. Let me put it this in a simple way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us some capabilities to perform certain tasks. Every one of us has some capabilities, some abilities, some power to do some things. Thus, our intention plus our capability should lead to what? Should result to an action. Whatever action we have the capability and the intention to do. Like a simple equation. Intention plus capability is equal to what? Action. For example, I'm thirsty or I'm having trouble speaking. What should I do? I should drink some water. So my intention is to drink water which is right in front of me. This glass of water is right here. Can I reach it? Yes, I can. Can I pick it up? Yes, I can. Can I drink water? Yes, I can. What will it do? It will result in the action of holding this, picking it up, putting to my mouth and drinking water, right? My intention and my capability will result in on these actions, and what will happen? The result will be I would have quenched my thirst, or I would have had my throat, which has become dry, it would become wet. But suppose I'm not picking up the glass. Suppose I'm not drinking water. What does that mean? What does that indicate? It shows that although I have the capability to drink water, but I'm not doing it because my intention is not there. I lack the intention. And why am I lacking the intention? Because I want to carry on with the lecture. I want to carry on with the talk. I don't want to waste time. So I'm not picking up this and I'm not having water again and again because my intention is not to drink water, not to quench my thirst, but to carry on with what I'm saying. Got it? So if you have the intention to do something, you will do it as long as there is nothing preventing you from doing it. Like my talk is preventing me from having water, right? Or you yourself do not change your intention. Now, I haven't changed my intention, but my priority is something else, right? So these are a couple of things which will stop you from taking the action, although you may have the intention, but the intention is not firm. This means, okay, let me give you a couple of more examples to make the point clear. This is a simple example with the glass. Suppose I intend to fast Mondays and Thursdays. Why do we fast Mondays and Thursdays? Anyone knows? It is the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if I intend to fast Mondays and Thursdays, and then Monday comes and I don't fast, and then Thursday comes and I don't fast, and there is nothing to prevent me from fasting, yet I don't fast, what does it mean? It means that I don't have the true intention to fast. Suppose I would say I want to do Hajj. I want to do Hajj, I want to go for Hajj, okay? And then every year, when the time comes to apply for Hajj, I don't apply. I just keep on delaying. I keep on delaying and delaying. So what's the reason? My intention is not true. I truly don't have the intention to perform Hajj. I keep on saying, but that is only a saying and a thought. It doesn't mean the proper intention to go for Hajj. Similarly, some people say, I want to start wearing the hijab. And then they don't. They say, oh, I will, I want to, and then they don't. They don't start wearing it. How much time does it take? You don't have to apply for a hijab. You don't have to spend millions and billions to buy a hijab. How much does it cost? One hijab. You could buy it for $2. So if you really want to wear the hijab, then you start wearing it right then. You don't keep on delaying it. But if you don't wear it, then it means your intention is not true. Is it clear now? So coming back to the hadith emphasizes the importance of having an intention for each and every action that we do. It also brings to the forefront our conscious intention and the need to make a connection between our physical action and their spiritual consequences. This is really important. Remember, what we are doing physically and what is the spiritual consequence of that action. Intention, as we all know, have you studied ibadah? You've done ibadah, right? You've done worship. You've done salah. Most of you have done salah, right? So whoever has done the course on salah or whoever has learned from anyone, salah, it has what? Any worship has got two conditions, basically, to be accepted. The first one is sincerity of intention. Second one is that it should be according to the sunnah. So we are talking about intention. So let's get to intentions in ibadah. Without intention, the acts of worship are not valid. If I stand here and I pray a salah, which is not sincerely for Allah, will Allah accept it? If I prayed in the Jama'ah just now, the Zohar prayer, and my intention was just to show off, will Allah accept it? No, very clear. So without intention, the acts of worship are not valid. It is like an action, that this action without intention is like a body without a soul. What is a body without a soul? Death? Right. So let us go to see where is the place of intention. How do we make the intention? Where is the place? To be honest, it is not the tongue. It is not the tongue. We think that we make the intention by the tongue and that's it. We could be saying several things like I just explained to you, I want to do this, I will do this, and then you don't get to do it. So the place of intention, like Ibn al-Qayyim said, intention is an action of the heart or the mind. You have to think about it in your mind. You have to use your heart to decide it, and that is your intention. And then you get to do things, not just simply stating, I want to do this. Mere utterance of words without intention in the heart or the mind is not sufficient. I mean, intention you can make through words which are not necessary. Sometimes people say it's not even required. Sometimes say it becomes a bid'ah, different interpretations. But to be simple, like intention is not to be recited in certain words. I'm praying salah, I don't have to say, oh, I am going to pray salah now for Zuhur. And it is like the fard or the sunnah, it should be in my heart when I start praying. So sometimes it may be easy to make the intention, at other times it may be difficult. Sometimes it becomes a habit, so you make intention for everything. Sometimes you do things and later on you realize, oh, I wish I had made this intention. You will realize when you start making the intention frequently. So which of our intentions will be, which of our actions will actually be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? As I mentioned earlier, this hadith sets the first principle for our deeds to be accepted by Allah, that they should be done sincerely and purely for Him, for His pleasure. Especially in those deeds which have been commanded as a form of worship, we must do them for Allah alone, for nobody else, through nobody else, like even making dua. Small things like making dua. You don't do it through somebody. You don't do it to somebody. You make the dua directly to Allah. All the prayer, all your worship, all your acts of worship, your sadaqat, your charities, everything should be only to please Allah. Any religious service directed to any other deity alongside Allah or other than Allah will never be accepted. Remember this. And the one who commits such a deed is deemed as committing what? A big sin, the greatest sin against Allah. What is it called? What is it called? Shirk. Everybody knows the word shirk? To associate partners with Allah. So you do a form of worship or you do anything and then you, alongside Allah or other than Allah, you have somebody else in mind or something in mind and you're doing it for that. So that becomes your deity. That becomes your object of worship. You're not worshiping that person or that statue or that pot or that business or those people, whatever. So your intention is purely for the sake of Allah. So what does shirk actually mean? It means to associate others with Allah in those things which are specific to Him. As Muslims, we all know that the Islamic beliefs and practices are based on true and strict tawheed. What is tawheed? Monotheism. Strict monotheism. Okay? The monotheism not only entails that there is only one creator, but also that Allah alone has the right to be worshipped. Nobody else deserves the right to be worshipped besides Allah. That is our statement, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, there is no one worthy of worship. Illa means except, Allah means Allah. No one else deserves the right to be worshipped. Another aspect of intention is, purity of intention is that we should not seek worldly benefit or worldly gains through religious services and acts of worship, even if that worldly gain or worldly benefit is something permissible. Look, go back to the hadith and see. The hadith we mentioned, remember the second example of the man who migrated because of a woman, because he wanted to get married to the woman. Is marrying a woman haram? No. Is it forbidden? No. Is it allowed? Yes. Is it encouraged? Yes. It's a sunnah to marry. So he was doing a sunnah act. He was doing something which is encouraged, to go and marry a woman. He did not have any other deities in mind. He was not doing shirk, nor did he intend to migrate for something which was haram. Rather, his intention was something which is encouraged and permissible in Islam. So we have to remember that if we seek any permissible worldly gain, like he was doing, his worldly gain was what? His wife. Through an action, the reward of our deed may diminish. It may decrease. We may not get the same reward as we do for doing something for the sake of Allah. And if we, for example, and if we do, okay, this was something permissible. If we do something which is impermissible, like which is an haram action, through a religious service or an act of worship, it would be considered a sin, a clear sin. And you are migrating, and you are migrating for something which is haram. Then it becomes, the whole action of migration will become haram. Your intention is haram, your action is haram, nobody knows, you only know, but the act that you do in front of everybody, that seems to be acceptable, but it will not be accepted. Rather, you will be punished for it. For example, if we seek praise of others through a religious service or an act of worship, it will not be accepted by Allah. And also, we may be punished for it in the hereafter. Just like I said now, if I'm praying just to show off, just to please somebody else, then, or just because everybody's praying, what would people think? I'm not praying. I'm going to give a talk on Islam and I'm not praying, so I go and I pray. What happens? That prayer will be rejected. Allah will not reward me for it. In fact, I would be punished for it because I'm doing it solely to get the appreciation from others. Why do I say this? The Prophet ﷺ mentioned the first people to be sentenced in the hereafter, in the hellfire, would be a scholar. Now listen to this. What is a scholar? One of the highest people we look up to, right? The scholars. A rich man, why? Because he has so much wealth to give in charity. So he's a rich man, he's a scholar. One is a scholar, number two is a rich man, and number three is a martyr. Martyr in the way of Allah. We look up to them. Oh, he was a shaheed, she was a shaheed. So Abu Huraira said in a hadith of Allah, I heard the messenger of Allah say, verily, the first to be judged on the day of resurrection will be a man who had died as a martyr. He will be brought forward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remind him of the favors he had bestowed upon him, and the man will acknowledge them. He will acknowledge all the favors of Allah. Then Allah will ask him, what did you do to express gratitude for my favors? The man will say, I fought for your cause until I was martyred. Allah will say, no, you have lied. You fought so that people might call you courageous, and they have done so. They called you a martyr, they called you courageous, they called you bold, everything, and then a command will be issued about him to the angels, and he will be dragged on his face and thrown into the hellfire. Can you imagine? This man who was supposedly martyred as a shaheed, he died in shahada, and we expect him to be in Jannah. But what's going to happen? He will be dragged by his face and put into the hellfire. The next man who had acquired and imparted knowledge, a scholar, and he read the Quran, he will be brought forward. Allah will remind him of the favors he bestowed upon him. Oh, I give you knowledge, I gave you the opportunity to teach, to learn, to teach, and to recite the Quran, and you had a beautiful voice, and everybody praised you. So what did you do to express gratitude for that? The man will say, I acquired knowledge and I taught it and I read the Quran for your sake. Allah will say, you have lied. You acquired knowledge so that people might call you a learned man. Oh, he's a learned man. And you read the Quran so they might call you a reciter. Oh, a beautiful reciter. And they have done so. Command will then be issued to the angels about him, and he will be dragged on his face and thrown into the hellfire. Next, a man whom Allah had made affluent. He was a rich man. Allah uses the word ghani, who was very rich, and he basically had everything. And to whom Allah had given plenty of wealth, will be brought forward. Allah will remind him of the favors he had bestowed upon him, and the man will acknowledge them. He will ask him, Allah will ask him, what did you do to express gratitude for it? The man will say, I did not neglect any of the ways you liked wealth to be spent liberally for your sake. I spent a lot of wealth liberally and abundantly, and I gave to the people. Allah will say, you have lied. You did it so that people might call you generous, and they have done so. Command will then be issued about him, and he also will be dragged on his face and thrown into the hellfire. After such a long hadith, what did we learn from this? We learned that sincerity of action is a must. No matter what you do, no matter what you do. You are a scholar, you are a rich man, you give money, you recite the Quran, you lead the prayers. Whatever you do, you die as a martyr in front of the people, still your intention was what that counts. It is not the action that you did in front of everybody. So that sincerity is called ikhlas. Ikhlas in Arabic. What is the opposite of sincerity? It is called riya in Arabic, which is showing off. You don't do it for Allah, you do it for others. The Prophet ﷺ said, that which I fear most for my community is hidden shirk, and it is showing off. You know what shirk was? Associating partners with Allah. What is hidden shirk? People cannot see that you are bowing to a statue, you are going and asking at a shrine or some place and making dua over there and asking the dead people, you are going to a grave, not things like that. You don't have any other deity that you are worshipping. It is hidden shirk. It's inside your heart. Nobody can see it. So the Prophet ﷺ said he was most fearful for his ummah about showing off. So if the main objective in our life is to seek the pleasure of Allah, our intentions can convert our entire life to become an act of worship. Entire life. The full day, the full week, the full month, every single day of our life can become ibadah, can become worship. We can gain reward even for the most natural and neutral acts that we do every day, all the time, if they are accompanied with the proper intention. Allah's Messenger said, when one of you sleeps with his wife, it is an act of charity. This is in Sahih Muslim. The same can be said for eating, sleeping, working, etc. This means if we eat, we drink, or we sleep with the intention to strengthen ourselves for fulfilling the commands of Allah, we will get reward even for eating, drinking, or sleeping. Simple things like that. We do every single day. An ordinary act of sleeping can be converted into an act of worship, such that we get reward for every moment that we spend in sleeping. Is it hard to believe? It is, right? Because we don't think like that. We think we are sleeping, we are doing nothing, we are just resting, and when we get up, we will start doing the actions. But the reality is, while we are sleeping, we can get reward for it. Our Prophet, beloved Prophet's wife, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha said, I seek reward in sleeping just like in waking. How can we do that? Let us think about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He made night time to sleep and daytime to do everything else. So if we sleep with that in mind, what would we be doing? We would be obeying Allah. Allah made the night for us to sleep, to rest, to become fresh, to rejuvenate, to kind of regain our strength for the next day. So when we sleep with that in mind, what happens? We get the reward. We would be obeying Allah. The Prophet ﷺ would also sleep at night. He would not sleep the whole night, but he would sleep and he would get up for tahajjud, for the night prayer. So if we sleep with that in mind, we would be following the sunnah. Won't we be rewarded? So simple. If we sleep early, which is the Islamic way, we will not waste time in doing activities that do not benefit us in this world or in the akhirah. Because what happens at night if we don't sleep? What do you do normally? Entertainment, right? TV, everything, go out, hang out, go to the clubs, go to whatever happens at night. So Allah says, I have made the night, and the Prophet ﷺ says, sleep early, sleep after Isha, as soon as you can. So if we sleep early, we will not be wasting our time. We should sleep with the intention of waking up for Fajr, right? We sleep with the intention, not, now I'm going to sleep 13 hours tonight. No. You sleep with the intention to wake up for Fajr, at least. Otherwise, the best thing is to wake up for the night prayer, for the tahajjud prayer. That's even more rewardable. Then we should recite the sunnah dua before sleeping. Everybody knows what we have to recite before sleeping? Okay? These are some azkar, some recitations, some supplications, which are from the sunnah. That before we sleep, we say, Bismikallahumma amutu wa ahya. That I sleep in the name of Allah. Bismikallahumma amutu wa ahya. When I sleep, when I'm dead, amutu means when I die, It's like when you're sleeping, you are actually not physical, but you can say you are in a state of like death. And then you wake up, wa ahya, when you live again. When you wake up again, you get a new life. So you sleep with this dua before you're going to sleep. And then we should make the intention that we are sleeping in order to give our body some rest. We followed the command of Allah, we followed the sunnah, and we sleep early, so we try to make the best of our time Then we sleep with the intention for waking up for Fajr or Tahajjud. Then we recite the dua of before sleeping. And then also we make the intention that we are sleeping in order to give our body some rest. So we wake up fresh and recharged to fulfill the commands of Allah. Not just to rest so that we can do everything else, but we are giving rest to our body so we can obey Allah in the best of way. And when we wake up, again we should recite the sunnah dua upon waking up. What is that dua? Anybody knows? Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana, alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana when I wake up I say it, and I say it like alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana wa amatana wa ilayhi nushur. Okay, so it's like you get up with the dua and you say, oh Allah, I'm grateful to you, I'm thankful to you for giving me this death and then resurrecting me in the morning, giving me the life, and we shall all go to the hereafter. Let us take another simple example. Instead of sleeping, you have to go to work, right? You have to go to work, and especially Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands you, especially the brothers, to earn for the family. So what are you doing? The brothers, when you go to work, what are you doing? You are obeying Him. You are obeying Allah. You are working to earn a halal provision. What are you doing? Why are you working? To get money, just to get money to spend it in whatever way you can, or you are going to work to earn money which is halal. So your income should be halal and you are working to earn halal provision. So everything that you do in that connection for going to work and working and coming back, you will be rewarded for that. Isn't it amazing? You will be awarded for even for going to the toilet before you go to work, because you will go in the sunnah way, come out in the sunnah way, use the toilet in the sunnah way, pray the recitations, the supplications before entering the bathroom, coming out of the bathroom. So you get rewarded for that. And why are you doing that? You are doing it to get ready to go for work in order to earn halal income. Starts from there. Number 1, you woke up. Number 2, you went to the bathroom. Number 3, you took a shower. Again, for taking the shower, of course, you have to take the shower in the sunnah way in order to get the reward. If you just go and take a shower, that will be just to cool, to clean yourself, and to be happy. But if you take the shower in the sunnah way, you get reward for it. You go into the shower, you make the wudu, you clean the filth off yourself, then you do the wudu, then you take the shower, and all in the sunnah way, you clean the whole body. When you come out, it's the same act which you did without the intention. Now you have the intention that you want to do it in the sunnah way. You come out, you wear your clothes. Obviously, you will be wearing clothes for work. But then, if you follow the Islamic dress code and you wear the clothes in the sunnah way, what is the sunnah way? You start with Bismillah. You start putting your right hand first, the left hand then. You wear your pants, you put the right leg first, you put the left, you wear your socks or shoes, you put the right foot first, then you put the left foot. All these are sunnah acts. They're not faraid, they're not fard. But if you do this, you get reward for even dressing up in the sunnah way. And then when you leave the house for work, what do? The last thing to your family, you say salams to your family. Assalamu alaikum. And that you get rewarded for it. It's a peace blessing for your family, plus you leave with the sunnah attitude. And then you recite the dua of leaving the house. Again, what is it? Anybody knows? Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That I'm leaving the house and I put my full reliance on Allah. And there is no movement except Allah. Nobody can do anything, nobody can harm me except Allah. Then you drive to work. You are in the car. What do? Again, you recite the dua. So it's very simple. Even if you don't know the dua, you have the intention that you want to learn the dua. Or you can keep it with you. You can hang it in the car, not to protect the car, but as a remembrance that when you go into the car, you are going to look at that and you are going to pray the dua, Subhanalladhi sakhara lana hadha wa ma kunna lahu muqrinin wa inna ila rabbina lamunqalibun. Then you go to work. You are there. You work with full dedication, with full honesty. If you are being paid for working 8 hours, you don't leave in 7.5 hours. If you are supposed to start work at 9 a.m., you don't arrive there at 9:30. Okay, then it will be dishonesty. You don't deceive anyone. You do with full dedication. You do with full honesty. And then you come home, You thank Allah for giving you, for granting you the provision which you wouldn't have otherwise been able to get yourself. All the risk, all the provision is from Allah. Don't think that you deserved this job, you are qualified for this job, you earned this money, you earned this position yourself. It is Allah who gave it to you. So you thank Allah. You come home, you greet your family again. What do? Assalamu alaikum. And then eat from the halal money that you got, that Allah gave you. That is your provision, halal provision. And when you are eating, again you eat in the sunnah way. What is the sunnah way? To recite Bismillah before, to eat with the right hand, to eat halal food, and when you finish, you again say Alhamdulillah. All these things come with what? Just one action, which was actually one intention, to go to work with a halal intention. And all these actions supported your going to work and coming back from work. So you will be rewarded for each and every moment, for each and every action, inshallah. I read the story of a Christian woman who accepted Islam just because she came to know that a Muslim can be in a state of worship 24 hours. Isn't it amazing? She accepted Islam because she came to know that 24 hours is worship in Islam. Whatever you do, whatever you think, day, night, just do it by being conscious of Allah. And do it in the sunnah way. Do it with a good intention. So, an amazing thing is when we make a firm intention to do anything that Allah has commanded us to do, but then something happens and we are prevented from doing so, we will still be rewarded for it. We made the firm intention, something happened, we couldn't do it, not because I changed my mind, because something stopped me, I will still be rewarded. Another amazing thing is when we make intention for one good action, one reward is recorded right away, right away. When you make the intention, it is written in our book of deeds, right away. And when we perform that action, Allah gives us many more rewards as much as He wishes, as much as He desires. It could be several fold. It could be 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, 700 times, or God knows how many times. So, with the intention, you get one reward. With the action, you get many, many rewards. And it is from the mercy of Allah that if we make, I told you about a good intention. If we make an intention for an evil action, for a bad action, there is no punishment just for the intention. It is not written right away. Oh, he made this intention, she made this intention. So it is not written in the book until and unless we perform that evil action. So if we do not perform that evil action, there is no punishment. Just the intention of doing something evil will not give us any punishment. And even then, just because we made the intention, and even if we do that action, the evil action, we will given only one punishment for one evil action. Allah says it clearly in the Quran. You do something bad, you will be punished, but it will be equivalent to what you did. One action of punishment, you get one punishment. One evil action, one punishment. But one good deed, you can get as many as Allah wants. So the best part, we can make multiple intentions for even a single action to gain maximum rewards from Allah. And how can we do that? Let me give you a couple of examples. When you go to the masjid, when you come to the masjid, instead of just making one intention of performing one prayer, you can make additional intentions like, I'm going to the masjid to please Allah. I'm following the sunnah of the Prophet. You make that intention. Oh Allah, please be happy with us. Oh Allah, I'm following the sunnah, please be happy with me. Oh Allah, please forgive my sins. This is an intention because I'm going to the masjid, I'm doing something good, make all the intentions. You make the intention that while you are in the masjid, you will reflect on the Quran. You will reflect on your environment. You will learn about Islam. You will be in a sinless environment. You will be in the company of pious people. You will bond with the Muslim community, with the brothers and sisters, and you will also volunteer at the masjid if needed. Similarly, if you plan to help people and fulfill their needs, you may have the following intention. Just an example. You are helping somebody, but you do it with the intention to please Allah. You do it with the intention to follow the commands in the Quran. You do it with the intention to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet. And you do it with the intention to help a needy Muslim or a brother or sister. You do it with the intention to bring happiness to them. You will be rewarded by Allah. You expect the reward from Allah. You do it with the intention of getting the reward from Allah, and you do it also with the intention to become generous, like the Prophet ﷺ. So go ahead and think of as many intentions as you can and pair them up with your goals. The rewards you can earn is beyond your imagination. You can't even begin to think about it. Okay, now I have a question for you. You've heard so much. I said it in the beginning. Very briefly I said. Now I have the question for you. Do our good intentions justify forbidden actions, impermissible actions, or haram actions? My intention is good. Can I do something haram with a good intention? Yes or no? Yes or no? No? Yes or no? Anybody says yes? No? Everybody's no? Good. For example, just giving a couple of examples. Are we allowed to gamble or to play lottery with the good intention to earn money for performing Hajj? For performing Hajj. Hajj is something which is once in a lifetime. It's a fard. Can we do a little bit of lottery or gambling? No. Or for giving charity. Some people are poor. I want to give charity. I want to give zakah. I want to give sadaqah. No. Or for building a masjid. How about building a masjid? No? Good. Are we allowed to steal from rich people with the intention to distribute it to the poor people? Can't we be like Robin Hood? No? No. Are we allowed to do magic, to counter magic? Somebody did magic and you think that you can counter the magic and he's done something really bad. It's a sin, it's this and disbelief. I want to do magic to counter that magic. Can I do it? No. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah is pure and good, and He accepts only what is pure and good. Very clear. This means the action must be lawful, it must be permissible, it must be halal. And the rules of Islamic law must be fully observed. No deception, no oppression, no injustice. Allah's messenger said, He who deceives us is not one of us. Very clear. We have to understand that good intentions do not change the nature of haram actions. They do not become permissible or pure. So now the question is, how do we achieve sincerity in our actions? What should we do? We talked about sincerity, we talked about examples, we talked about multiple intentions. What should we do so that we become sincere in our intentions? Number one, we should do more and more righteous deeds. By doing the righteous deeds, we get closer to Allah and we achieve more sincerity in our intentions and actions. Number two, we avoid bad deeds or evil deeds by controlling what? Our desires. And not commit actions which are haram and disliked by Allah. Number three, by checking our intention before anything we do. We have to make sure that our intention is only for the sake of Allah. Number four, we constantly check our intention and our purpose of action during the action and after the action, and keep renewing it and rectifying it if needed. Number five, we persistently should ask ourselves our short-term as well as our long-term goals. Just keep on asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing what I am doing? Am I doing it to please myself? Am I doing it to please somebody else? Or am I doing it to please Allah? So keep reminding yourself that Allah is fully aware of intentions behind all actions and He will reward us accordingly. Keep in mind that any day could be our last day. Any deed could be our last deed. Any prayer or any prostration could be our last prayer or last prostration, and that we may not have another chance. So we end with the lessons learned. Number one, our intentions, just recapping. Our intentions will determine whether our actions are sound or corrupt. We need to have a purpose and intention for every single act we perform. Sincerity of intention is an essential requirement in all acts of worship and for all good deeds. Every permissible act that is done with the intention to gain the pleasure of Allah will be rewarded and it will be transformed into an act of worship. Similarly, any permissible act can become an act of disobedience with a bad intention. We should make a conscious effort to purify our intentions every single time for every single act. We shall be rewarded for our good intentions even if we cannot follow them up with the actions. We should make multiple intentions for every single action to expect the maximum reward, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in keeping our intentions pure and grant us the guidance to act upon them. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. How perfect is your Lord, the Lord of might, above what they ascribe, and peace be upon those who were sent, and all praises and thanks belong to Allah, the Lord, the cherisher, the sustainer of the universe. So, any questions I would like to ask now? We've kept specially 10 minutes, yes? The struggle with the intention or struggle with the action? And okay, so the best thing is, like I said, you in the beginning, before you start the action, you have the niyyah. Before you sleep, you are talking about tahajjud, right? So waking up, tahajjud is waking up for the night prayer. So the brother is asking, if we are praying tahajjud, but our intention is not good, how can it not be good? I mean, I can't believe a person wakes up at night, like waking up from your sleep is the hardest thing you can do. You wake up and you pray, you're praying to Allah, your intention has to be to please Allah, right? But if you think that there is some flaw in your intention or some shortcoming, then before going to sleep, you make the intention, oh Allah, make me from those who pray the night prayer. And I want to sleep and I want to wake up for the night prayer. So that will be your intention. But when you are praying tahajjud, you say Allahu Akbar, your intention is that you are doing it for Allah. You don't make a verbal intention, oh Allah, I'm doing it for you. You just have the intention in your heart and just say Allahu Akbar and you start your prayer. And during the prayer, if thoughts come to you, other things, how will anybody else know you are praying tahajjud unless you are doing it in the masjid? So if you are doing it at home, this is something that no one else will know. So it's only between you and Allah. Any question? Stephanie, you had it, yes. Ikhlas. You want to know what ikhlas is? Ikhlas means sincerity of intention. You want to spell it in English? I-K-H-L-A-A-S. Ikhlas. So ikhlas is something that you are praying with sincerity. And the opposite of ikhlas is when you are not sincere, you are showing off. So that word in Arabic is riya. You can say R-I-Y-A, riya. Shirk. Are you asking about shirk? You know what shirk is. Oh, it is associating partners with Allah. S-H-I-R-K. Shirk. S-H-I-R-K. Shirk. Associating partners with Allah in His names, in His attributes, in worshipping, in calling somebody else a Rab, yani a Lord, or making somebody else equal to Allah, all these things are considered shirk. Inshallah, when you do this course of Aqidah, inshallah you will, since you are very new, a new Muslim, that's why you are not fully aware of the word shirk. Any other question? Yes, brother? You had a question? Yes. That's a big sin. Harming somebody else or taking somebody's life or anything that is like that is totally haram, right? Totally haram. Harming anyone else is haram. It's forbidden in Islam. So if you are doing that action in itself, that is a haram action. Even if your intention is very good, you want to kill this person because he's a bad guy. No, you don't take the law in your hands. If somebody is attacking you, only then you have to, in order to save your life, you can, and then the guy may be killed. That's okay because you're not intentionally, your intention is not to kill the guy. Your intention is to save yourself, okay? Two different things. Your intention is to save your life or to save somebody else's life, and you're driving the guy who is assaulting, you're driving the guy away from him or from yourself, then what happens is your intention is saving the life, not to kill the person. But if in that process you hit him hard, what happened to Musa alayhi salam? Remember, anybody knows the story of Moses? When Musa alayhi salam saw two people fighting among themselves, he saw them and he tried to, somebody called him for help, and he recognized that this guy is from his own people, right? So he went and he boxed the guy. He punched the guy. Like you said, he punched the guy. He didn't expect that by punching this guy he would fall dead, but it happened. He punched the guy and the guy fell dead. So it can happen, but you don't intentionally go and murder somebody. Okay? Never. If you think somebody has done something wrong, somebody has committed a murder, you go and tell the police. You don't do it yourself. You go and tell the authorities that so-and-so has done it. But if there's no time, you call 911. If there's no time, then what do? Is you just try to save the person without killing the other guy. But if he gets killed, it's okay. Yes? You had a question? The one behind? No? Anyone else? Okay, so before we end, there is an announcement. IOC, this masjid, the Islamic Institute of Orange County, has an announcement that they are searching for volunteers. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. Brothers and sisters, if you are committed, energetic, and have ideas to share, we need you. Only 2 hours a week. If you are interested to join the social committee, contact us on this number on Saturday or Sunday, and there's an email given. So this is the number you call or send an email if you have the energy, the capability, and the time, and the intention to volunteer. Okay? Got it? Done? Any more questions? Okay. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Yes, brother Jamal. Take this.
Assalamu alaikum. I pray you guys are all doing well. I wanted to make sure I made it for this session. I hope it was good. I want to thank everyone that helped out. Where I'm coming from is actually very interesting. We had a presentation at a church today, and it was a discussion between, it was a Muslim-Christian dialogue. It's really nice. So we would take core questions of our faith, and we would respond to that, just to kind of build the commonalities, but at the same time also not shying away from our differences in a respectful way. So it was really nice. So alhamdulillah, keep this masjid in your du'as, your prayers. They're trying to do as best as they can. Sr Nasreen, thank you so much for helping out here. Just some reminders. Of course, Friday Coffee with a Sheikh, the time might be changing, so just make sure you guys are up to date on the WhatsApp messages and the emails. Number 2, there was something else. I just can't think of it right now. Was there any questions for me logistically or anything of that nature, inshallah? Everyone's doing all right? All right, perfect. So may Allah reward you all. May Allah bless you all. If you guys can help out with the tables and chairs, we'll go ahead and put them on the racks. And I will see you guys on Friday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.